I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hey, what's good? Happy Thursday. Good afternoon, and welcome. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. We're watchable on TV, Fox 34 News Now, YouTube, Fire Stick, Roku, our mobile app. Listen in on 9:50 a.m. Lots of ways to take us in. However, wherever you are joining us from on this Thursday, we're glad that you've decided to make us part of your afternoon, alongside the one and only Josh Foppel. I'm Chois Woodman. Clint Scott across the way taking care of us. You can also hit us up. You got thoughts, comments, questions, bring them in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Take that app anywhere with you. Even listening out on Cold Storage Beach, Massachusetts. Doesn't sound like a place that's quite the vacation beach spot, but you know.
It also doesn't sound like a real place.
Why do you not believe me?
I believe you.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't sound like a real place.
So you're
I believe that you're reading real places. Just if I had to pick a name out of a hat. Or if I had to make up.
That one was very wordy. Very wordy.
Cold Storage Beach. It doesn't look that bad. It's a real place. Probably. It has 4.9 stars on Google with 81 reviews, so maybe it's one of those hidden gems that you can go vacation at without too much. That's the second worst part about the beach.
Is what?
Population. Overpopulation.
What's the first part?
Oh, that's
sand.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
No,
Sand in crevices.
people, and then sand.
So it's a consensus top two, though, right?
Yeah,
In some order.
you could almost go 1A, 1B,
Yeah, too many people and sand.
and then you have to get into what type of beach. Like you're up there, you're in a colder beach that I would actually prefer. But if you go like the beaches more people are going, then I have to worry about the sun.
These are a bunch of mountain people talking about the beach, though.
Beach sucks.
Right? You're a beach people?
I am not.
Okay.
I am very anti-beach.
Okay, so you would count as a mountain.
Vehemently.
Mountain versus beach. You choose
Yes,
mountains. Okay.
fully. Also,
So.
you're both pigment challenged people. who
Whoa,
have to
whoa,
worry about
whoa!
beach.
Are you allowed to say that?
As someone who is not,
It
yes.
is Juneteenth, so I guess you. Well, no, that doesn't apply to you.
Nope, does not.
No. So you just called me white. I've been working on the tan, man. I've been working on it. If you look up here, you'll see the difference.
Look at all the
in
red.
tan.
Look at all
To
the
be
red
fair,
of you.
The second tone that you just showed of the farmer's tan, I would kill for that tone.
the second tone.
The
Yeah,
second
if
part
you're
of the
gonna
color
direct
palette
the
you
pigment
just showed in
challenge-
the bicep area,
Yeah.
I would kill for that.
Direct the pigment challenge across there. Oh, over there.
Yeah, but I've noted that
direction.
several times.
Yeah,
I am
When it comes to
tender
beaches,
complexion.
I agree, people. I'm on Anakin's side, Anakin Skywalker's side. The sand
like
is coarse,
sand.
gets everywhere.
Of course, it gets everywhere.
We will.
Sand.
We will take.
How do you feel about younglings?
Not a fan.
Oh man, so sad. We'll take your thoughts, comments, whatever you want to talk about, Star Wars, sand, or sports. We will dabble in a little bit of everything today, as we've got some new possibilities with the college football playoff. Possibilities. There's people are talking, and people in charge are talking, because we talk about it often. We will talk about the Lakers.
Why?
Because they've sold.
Oh yeah,
The Bus family
I did
is
see
sold.
that. That's right.
We won't talk much
Sold
about
out,
it.
man.
We won't talk much about it. We'll talk, of course, Texas Tech football. We'll talk basketball national title odds have been pushed out.
Wow.
If anybody's interested, know where Texas Tech fits and sits on that list.
I am.
Texas Tech baseball.
Yep.
You have a coach that is former coach that will land in the Big 12. Is that? Softball is portaling again. So, plenty of stuff to get into over the next 3 hours or so.
Also, just as an aside, Talking Baseball podcast with Chois Woodman, Jamie Lent, is continuing. So it's not just because it's end of season.
We'll push out
still
episodes.
One went up last week, still relevant. Not much has changed in the landscape so far, particularly in terms of Texas Tech and stuff. But
I've
Jamie,
been told they'll do it until one of them passes. Is that correct?
yes, that is what I also.
Is that how
heard.
it's going to work?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Jamie did say that he'll do it as long as there's updates to be given out.
We'll keep going with
The Portal King.
We've kind of been
his
waiting.
Court jester.
We kind of been waiting on the next one until a pitching coach is announced, but that's is he in the College World Series finals right now? That's the question. I think there is a chance of it. I don't know that for sure, but I think that maybe Coastal Carolina, I don't know, could have your next pitching coach. If that's the case, they had one of the best rotations and pitching staffs in the country this year. So,
And if that's the case, does one of those guys want to come over this way too?
oh, pitchers, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I would guess you can pay a little bit better than Coastal Carolina. I don't know, but
I mean, I don't know the way we talk about the NIL over here for baseball.
it's probably even less than. Where is Coastal Carolina? I know it's
South Carolina.
I know it's in South Carolina, but I can't think of the.
Cold Storage Beach, South Carolina.
That's a good guess, but I don't think so. We got All-American lists out. Well, all Big 12 and All-American lists out from Phil Steele.
For football?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're, 70-something days away? 70 exactly?
They're from Conway, Twitty, South Carolina.
Old Twitty. I used to really despise Conway Twitty music. I don't know why.
It's been a long time.
Okay, I'm despising it again right
sorry.
now. But
Hello, Choice.
no, I don't know what it was. Now I can handle it. It's still not my favorite, but I'm a pretty big old country guy.
Sure.
Conway Twitty just didn't tickle my fancy too much, so I'm not big on the Conway Twitty. But are you?
I truly have
just heard
no
of it.
idea what you're talking
Heard
about.
of his name right now,
Yes.
didn't you?
I'm sure there's a song or two that I could oh, okay, that makes sense. But no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I kind of figured that was the case. So, y'all tell us what you want to talk about. Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get into a little bit of everything today, as we have. I mean, we're 10 minutes in, and we've checked the box of sand. Here we are. Conway Twitty, Star Wars, barely the Lakers. We'll get into a little bit of everything.
You kind of look like Conway Twitty.
Stop it. Headlines are next.
Choice Way Twitty.
That might be an option for Halloween now.
That's what Choice is short for. Choice Way.
It's the bottom line. Headlines next on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
So Thursday with the bottom line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. 100.7 The Score mobile app. Powered by Happy State Bank. Choice, Josh, and Clint with you up until 3 o'clock today. There's a new test out.
Prove it.
You look like a test taker.
I don't mind tests.
You wear glasses.
The
that's why I
reason
said that.
I don't know how to feel about that. The reason I did as well as I did in school is because of tests.
So you're a good test taker.
Yes.
I was a good test taker. I was an awful studier.
I did zero homework. Is kind of my thing.
So there's a simple fitness test.
Oh.
That can predict whether you're going to die in the next 10 years.
Fitness,
Awesome.
huh?
Fitness pizza. I don't remember the rest of it. Anyway,
I have a mug that I won the foot race, the Raymar foot race, and
I still don't believe that.
I got a taco. I got a cup that says,
Like, who was
I'm
clocking
into
that?
fitness. What?
Who was clocking that? I don't believe that you actually won. Sorry.
Did you end up running in that?
I did run.
Oh wow.
Pulled like 3 hamstrings.
Anyway, the mug says
Good
I'm
for you,
into
Josh.
fitness, and then when you put something in it, it says fitness taco in my mouth.
I like it. All right, so here's a fun health test to try. Fun if you pass it. New study found that this simple health test can predict how likely you are to die in the next 10 years.
Rad.
Oh, you're a chunky guy? Over 4,000 people aged 46 to 75 tried it. So I think we're all clear of that.
Okay.
But
Well, maybe Choice is like
you're
on
the
the
closest.
edge.
if Jamie's listening, then he can try it out and give us the
He's on the edge the other way.
almost 75. Yeah.
He's just got a couple more years before he can't take it.
So the ones who could do it were 6 times less likely to die of a heart or lung issues over the next decade.
Awesome.
It's called the sit to stand test or the cross-legged get up test.
Okay.
All you have to do is sit on the floor and stand back up, but you can't use your arms, knees, or grab anything for support.
Okay. So
You lower yourself down until you're
cross-legged,
sitting.
you like put your hands up or whatever.
So if you sit Indian style. I don't even know if I can say that anymore.
It's crisscross applesauce.
My bad.
That's not even on the Fended. It's just that's what it's called.
Did y'all start calling it that when you were a kid? Because that came after I was a kid, at least in Dumas. It was still Indian style.
I heard it both ways, but one was more fun to say
Okay.
because one rhymed.
So if it's easy to do, you're probably in decent enough health. Ideally, you should be able to do this without putting your hand or knee down or grabbing onto anything.
What if you can do it, but the whole time it's like like that, and then you're breathing really hard when you get up?
I think it's fine.
Well, okay, so they said
Because that's what's going to happen.
they scored each test by starting at 10 and subtracting 1 point every time support was needed. So if you put your hand down once or had to sit and again and stand, that's an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
So we're doing like bull riding
Subtract
rules?
a half point every time the person lost their balance or wobbled.
Okay.
Okay.
How well do you think you would do?
Well, we're going to test this during the break.
Oh, okay.
During the break, we have TV.
I
do
know,
this
but
on the desk
in
right
case
now.
on the desk.
Yeah, Josh and I can fill up the radio time.
Well, I'm afraid of
obviously say
all the
what's
noises
happening.
I'm going to make, like you were talking about. So I
Oh,
don't
and
wanna...
it looks like Choice is about to pass out on this one.
No, we're going to test this during the break. We'll get back to you. We'll let you know who's going to die.
And you can check out the full video on Double T 97.3's Twitter.
And Jeff McGuire is going to be in later. He will definitely.
He actually fits the window.
He's going to do the real test for us since he's in that 46 to 75 range.
You guys want to do the sit and reach after this?
Is he 46?
I have no idea.
What does that mean?
Genuinely no idea.
Sit and reach? You never did the sit and reach test?
That
Not
sounds.
at all.
That was like the part of the presidential fitness thing, and you sit with your legs out and you see.
And you
Oh,
reach
yeah.
how far you
Okay.
can get. Okay.
That was also, you did like the stretch if you can touch your fingers behind your back, like that whole thing. And isn't that a part of it?
Sure, I'll believe you.
Okay.
All right,
I just tore a bicep doing it.
That's good. So the national championship odds are out for college basketball as we sit here on June 19th. You can also find bracketology and all sorts of stuff. Surprise, surprise. Joe Lunardi still doesn't like the Red Raiders. I'll never get it. I'll never get why he always goes low when it comes to Texas Tech. But
Because it doesn't matter at this point. And what does he get out of it? Reaction.
yeah. Because he can be like, well, my metrics said
it's
that.
the Joel Klatt angle.
Oh, sure it is. Anyway, so someone that's a lot more invested, even at this point, than Joe Lunardi is into the season, would be people out in Las Vegas who are there to make money.
Yep.
And they tell us that Texas Tech has the blank best odds to win the national championship.
I want to say second because it's, Tech was fifth, third, fourth, something like that.
It depends whose power rankings you're looking at.
I want to say second, but I'll say fifth.
I'm going to say eighth.
I would have guessed closer to eighth than fifth, even lower.
Really?
10th, not way lower.
I was going to go ninth.
Tied for 10th is where you sit. Tied with Brigham Young. And this is according to FanDuel, by the way. So
I don't know why I was going to go either 8th or 12th.
Purdue
I could have just split the middle.
Purdue and Houston have the best odds.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's fair.
They're both going off at 10-1 right now. Duke sits at 13-1. Florida, the defending champs, 16-1, fourth best odds. Kentucky 17-1, along with Michigan and Kansas and St. John's and Connecticut. How does that's just a purely betting,
Have you seen
right?
what they've been doing with their roster lately?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. They're going to be really young. People
are going to bet on Kansas.
Depending on which one. Well, it's the blue blood, and it's the whichever ranking you're looking at, the number 1 or number 2 overall prospect for the NBA draft on campus.
It's also betting on a coach too.
Yeah.
So 17-1 odds.
That's who else should we put here? Oh, Kansas.
Kentucky, Michigan, Kansas, St. John's, and UConn all tied for 5th. And then you go down to 10th. Louisville, Texas Tech, BYU, all tied for 10th. Next on the list from the Big 12 at 15th or 14th is Arizona. Scroll down just a smidge to find Iowa State at 35-1. Arizona was 30-1. Tex was 20-1, by the way. And then Baylor all the way down at 60-1. So not expecting as much from the Bears this year. But those are your national title odds for the Big 12. Kansas State actually comes in next after Baylor. But that's 60-1 all the way down to 150-1 for K-State.
That feels about right. Also, like legit where they are in the Big 12 kind of pecking order on those odds, because they've added so much offense in the offseason, but they did last year too. It was a mess. So we'll see. But as much as I dislike them, I think Kansas State could be a sneaky good team in the Big 12 this year.
West Virginia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Utah. So basically, West Virginia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Utah, all at 200-1. TCU even lower than that at 300-1. So there's your gambling odds if you are so inclined. I don't think the Big 12 is going to be as good 1 through 9 or so this year as it was last year. I think you're going to have a pretty strong 1 through 5, maybe 1 through 6.
Well, and again, I think that's where you see maybe the wild card of a Kansas State,
possibly, yeah.
and Baylor is just going to be so weird because they had to replace so much, right? Well, that's kind of what they've been doing though now. So I think you look at those kind of teams and go, okay, either that's going to affect that 1 through 9, and I agree with you, Chois, but like those are the type of teams that are going to affect that 1 through 9, where you go, man, it really is deep, like halfway through the league, or you go, it's pretty top heavy, but the top heavy is really good.
It's the bottom line. We'll get to a Kaylee's Dailies and one of our final words of the day coming your way up next on 100.7 Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Happy Thursday, y'all. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score. And 107thescore.com. Not as happy as I thought it was going to be, though. Get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. Before I forget, we got a word of the day. We've teamed up with our friends at the Home Zone, making your house a home, to give away a lot of cash. Lots of cash, Aline. All you got to do is take the words we give you at... Well, I say give you. This is it. This is the last day we're giving you words. So take this word and the one we give you at 2:45.
I mean, we can keep giving you words. It just won't mean anything after
That's
this
true.
point.
That's true.
Go type them in at doubletsportsnetwork.com, and you'll have a shot at winning $2,500 at the Soggy Dog on June 26th. I am curious how many of our listeners, our afternoon listeners here, have won. Text in if you have, if you've gotten into the $500 cash up to this point. But if not, you can win out at the Soggy Dog with us on June 26th, which is a week from today, actually. I hear rumors that Josh will be there.
Where?
Who knows? I will
Soggy
be there.
Dog. So, your word today is dolphins. 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 If you type in DOLL space FINS, I think Jamie will still take it, but we'll see. Try it out.
Favorite dolphin not named Zach Thomas.
Well, that's cheating. Wes Welker. It's always going to be a Red Raider if they're there. Non-Red Raider affiliation. I really
Donald
liked...
Brown.
Okay. Thought you were going to go Tyreek Hill, but...
No.
Dan Marino. I mean, he was slinging it before it was popular to sling it.
Yeah, true.
Dan Marino, if he just had the one title, like how much differently do people look at him?
Who did you say?
Donald Brown.
Oh, okay.
How about Reggie Roby?
Ours share the last name.
Who?
Ronnie Brown.
That's probably who I meant.
That season of the Wildcat, the Wild Dolphin,
That is who
was
I meant.
one of the most fun I've had with an NFL franchise I cared nothing about.
That's literally why I picked him.
Yes, I tuned in every week to watch them when they were going.
Ronnie Brown.
Let's get to Kaylee's Dailies.
Also, shout out to Jason Taylor, but mostly because of backyard football.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Oh,
It's
no.
time for a pop quiz.
Does a bobcat have a tail?
Quiz, hot shot.
Yes. I mean, because you're asking, it's probably no, but I'm going to say yes.
You probably had to think about it briefly because a bobcat has a tail, but
Oh,
it's not normal.
okay.
The bobcat is one of the three large feline species. This is felid. I don't know if that's a typo, but
I couldn't tell you.
I'll take your word for it. Found in Texas. The other two being
I didn't hear what you just
the other
said.
two, the two large cat
Oh,
in Texas, feline.
two large.
Cougar, mountain lions, and ocelots.
Ding. Got it.
I didn't know. Ocelot was a stab in the dark.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Bobcats are a species of lynx. A felid, apparently, species known for their pointed ears, scruffy fur, and strong legs, which utilize for climbing.
You have scruffy legs.
Like lynx, bobcats are also known for having ear tufts around their ears to improve their hearing.
You have ear tufts.
Bobcats range in color from gray to brown to red and can have spotted or striped coats. Typically, a bobcat grows to about 2 feet in length. Oh, whoops. How long?
Here's
I'll
the
go
challenge.
for it's between 1 and 3. I'll go 2.
And weighs over...
80 pounds.
That would be the most frightening bobcat ever.
Yeah, that's a bobcat on steroids. 40 pounds?
30 pounds.
30 pounds. On the last question, I
I
really
mean,
was...
if you just think about
should've
carrying
gone-
a 30
I
pound
should-
cat, how huge that would
I
be.
was also going to go like 15, and then I
80
would have been
pounds.
right. 'Cause it would have been
bobcat
over
is like-
15.
have you seen the Family Guy pig that was on steroids and he's got fists and he's just like oink? That would be that bobcat.
Pretty well.
Also, on that last one, even though he knew it, I was giving Josh a 50-50 chance that he was listening.
You're correct.
Bobcats utilize their speed and strength to hunt speedy prey like rabbits and hares. The bobcat would probably be longer if it had a typical tail, but the bobcat's tail is bobbed into a tight, rounded coil.
That makes sense.
The bobcat. How many have you seen in the wild?
Maybe one. Probably none.
Quite a bit. When I was a
see
kid,
them.
I had one scare the living everything out of me bird hunting. And he didn't do anything. He ran off. He was like hiding in this real thick grass, and our dog scared him, and he finally took off.
Wait,
and I
who
was
was
just
bird hunting, him or you?
both of us probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've probably seen, certainly far more coyotes than I have bobcats. I couldn't think of an instance, probably.
So I regret to inform you that Jamie's going to be on the prowl for some new hosts before too long.
Like a bobcat.
So, because 2 out of the 3 members of this show failed the sit to stand up test.
I didn't fail. I got 9.5 out of 10.
No, you didn't get a half.
I got 9 out of 10. What was the scoring system?
Not using the wall.
I think that's DQ. No, I forgot
that
to read
was a
that.
loophole, and it was never said.
I just didn't read you the whole story. So, Josh apparently has vegetarian powers because the only person that got up and made it look pretty easy, too. The other one, the other 2 of us, I mean, it's impossible. I'm telling you. I watched him do it, and it's still a physical impossibility.
If I did it the way that Josh did it, it's like, you know how like ballerinas have super strong toes and like the ends of their feet? That is the inside of Josh's feet.
Okay.
It's the only way that I can say it. Also, his Achilles are both made of steel.
By the way,
I didn't do it the same way both times, though.
vegetarian powers is horseback.
Yeah, that's pretty
also.
good.
Vegetarian powers. It's not going to make it in the race, probably.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. It is right under right under professional flyer, so horsey, and arthritis cream.
arthritis cream.
So, yeah, I don't know how you did that. I don't know if you're on some sort of voodoo or what's going on there, but that was impressive. I do think some legit athletic people I know would not be able to do that same thing. I think you're just either built with a certain flexibility or you're not.
Well, I've never been flexible.
I haven't either. But I could think of some basketball players if they tried that. No way.
Shaq.
I mean, athletes all the time, they need help to get up. They all reach for the help to get up. They're not doing this on their own.
I would take help if I was on.
Okay.
But I get you. It doesn't seem like a super, determinative test.
What would your vegetarian superhero name be?
Specifically for being a vegetarian, my superhero name.
Dan Marino,
America
meatless.
cauliflower.
Dan Marino was one of my favorite players growing up. Hurt to find out he was a trash human. I guess I never saw that on him. No, I never knew that about Dan Marino, so I'm going to keep it that way because I only know him from football highlights mostly and Ace Ventura. That's where I was going to go.
Exactly where you
Ace Ventura. Yep. I didn't know. Like, how trash are we talking? Like Tyreek Hill level?
Brett Favre.
I was going to say, is this like
level?
Brett Favre?
Right.
Because there are different levels. Brett Favre and Tyreek Hill are not on the same plane to me. And,
Yeah, that's why we said them separately.
And then
Is this like Chad Ochocinco?
What about
because
Karl
he's just
Malone?
annoying? Ooh.
because he's got some stories on him. Yeah. So I'm curious. You might have to point me in the direction of the Dan Marino stuff.
Yeah, I really didn't know that either. Oh, we got an answer.
Oh, fathering children. Okay. So Tyreek Hill level, only just a tiny, like what Tyreek Hill's not that bad for.
Yeah, that's not great. I didn't know that about old Dan.
Okay. fathering children outside of marriage. Don't ever want to meet your heroes. It's the bottom line. Josh, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Continue next on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's the bottom line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. 100.7 The Score mobile app. Chois Woodman, Jeff McGuire here in the First United Bank studio. Y'all continue to hit us up. You got any thoughts, comments, questions? Bring those in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. All right, Jeffrey. College football playoff committee has recently met, and they are speaking about such things as, what do we want to do in the future? And we're talking about the format of the college football playoff specifically. So, Rich Clark, who's the executive director of the College Football Playoff Committee. This is the role that... Is this the role that Kirby Hocutt had at one point? I can't remember. Or
He was
is
in
this
charge of the College Football Playoff Committee.
Or was he just the chair of the
I think it was
board?
just the chair of the committee. I don't know that he was...
Okay, so Rich Clark, I think, is the...
Table.
Thank you. He's the leader of the actual college football playoff. Anyway, he says, I don't think there's anything completely off the table. I wouldn't say there's a leading contender right now.
You just made his day. You know that, right?
No.
Okay.
Just don't acknowledge it.
I'm just...
Don't even acknowledge it.
He's not wrong. That was a total accident.
So they are talking about possibly new format altogether. They're talking about expansion. They're talking about keeping it at 12 teams. They're talking about going up to as many as 24 teams. What would be the best possibility we could see out of this college football playoff in the near future, in Jeff McGuire's mind?
I think we're heading to 16, and I say that as I feel like that's a good number for the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. I'm not upset of them at 12 right now. I do feel like 16 is where we're going to get to and where we're going to stay. I like 16 as a number. Then it's 16-8 for championship. You're only really adding one game for two teams at the end of that. In my dream world, the bowl games would be part of those games. And, I hate to say this, you keep a handful of bowls afterwards that are profitable for people to run, and the rest go by the wayside. And I know that means I'm getting rid of college football games, which I'm normally against. But I'm also the guy that watches like 2 bowl games a year, the one Texas Tech plays in and the national championship game. The playoffs made that a little more interesting the last couple of years, where there was actually something going on that mattered. But I'm not checking out the nobody gives a blank .com bowl in Nowheresville, Indiana, that ESPN is carrying, that has 2 teams that I have vaguely heard of but couldn't tell you a single player that has been on their roster in the last decade.
So you may not be doing that, but the numbers still say
there's still people watching.
People are doing it.
And that's why
people are still watching bowl games.
I said specifically the ones that are still profitable.
Yeah, the Texas Tech's highest viewed game this year was Arkansas.
Yeah. But I'd also say playing Arkansas in a bowl
close.
game is not the same as playing 2 teams that I can barely know and don't know anybody that's played on them in the last 10 years, playing in some random city in Indiana that's not Indianapolis, at some random field that has been torn up, and they're in the process of rebuilding it.
But I'd still venture to guess most, if not all, teams' highest viewed games that are bowl teams are their bowl games.
So you're saying 2 random teams playing. What?
I can't even tell you who I would pick on now.
Ohio and Jacksonville State played in the Cure Bowl this year on December 20th. Ohio and Jacksonville State. That drew 1 million viewers.
You heard me say profitable.
That's profitable.
They get to determine how it's profitable. If it's ESPN makes enough money to keep it going, fine. If it's the people that are putting it on, they're making enough money to support the facility and keep it upgraded and do all the things they have to do to make it a good experience, that's profitable. But you can't tell me every bowl game out there makes money.
I think I can, or they wouldn't happen.
That's one of the not great bowl games.
Yeah,
that's one of the not great matchups.
I mean, that's one of the not great ones that's got 1 million viewers. So,
was 1 million enough to make money on it?
Easily. 1 million's a lot of people, man. And they're selling these sponsorships for what? These title sponsorships for $2 or $3 million. They're selling
I don't know what their costs are, and you also heard me say they've got to keep the facility upgraded.
I think
we have seen 2 bowl games that Texas Tech has played in that have not been upgraded.
I understand your point, but these bowl games are making money.
I think the TV networks are telling you they're making money because what are they not doing? Pushing to get rid of bowl games.
The lowest, you're exactly right. The lowest viewed bowl game was the Arizona Bowl. It was on Saturday, December 28th. And you might wonder, okay, Colorado State and Miami of Ohio, that might be the reason. 567,000. Still not nothing. But it was the game that was on the CW. That's why it was there. So if you want to see something go away or ESPN swell up every single bowl game out there, that might happen.
Well, and before then, show me what the CW's numbers are for other things
that may be
network.
profitable for the CW. How is that profitable for Frito-Lay? Sorry.
These bowl games were 3 for 1.
So, anyway.
You guys having a bowl game party?
Texas Tech and Arkansas, as Clint mentioned. In that week 2 of the postseason, that era, or that window, that was the 3rd most viewed game in that time. The only 2 were also Big 12 bowl games. Alamo Bowl and Pop-Tarts Bowls were the 2 that were ahead of them, which featured ranked teams in both of those games.
And also the most fun bowl mascot, ever.
Well, of course. BYU and Colorado drew 8 million viewers. Iowa State, Miami, 6.79. Arkansas and Texas Tech, 4.21 million viewers, which is a good chunk for a bowl game that they will tell you doesn't matter. That lots of people are telling you doesn't matter. So the point, Jeff, I think, is these aren't going anywhere. And I don't even think we're going to scratch away the bottom
You asked
ones.
me in my perfect world.
No, I get it. But
and now you're criticizing me for describing my perfect world.
I think I'm criticizing you for saying that they wouldn't.
In my perfect world, Texas Tech doesn't go to Mississippi Nowheresville to go to a bowl game that's halfway built.
Mississippi Nowheresville. Okay. Yeah, that was in Tennessee.
That when everybody that got back from that stadium all said the same thing, what a dump. Everybody I talked to that went to that game said the same thing. And that was a bowl game that you went to. That's what I want to get rid of.
You didn't ask me.
I heard you say it, Chois.
Did you?
Yes. I didn't have to ask.
Everybody
was happy to tell me.
I don't know that I said it was a dump. I do feel like if Memphis can host the stadium of Memphis can host a bowl game.
Yeah, isn't that less though on the bowl game and on the team who plays there?
I think the bowl game has to make a decision of we need to move this thing if they're not going to be able to.
That's what I'm saying but not they can't go in and say, "Hey guys, we got to renovate the stadium."
Sure.
They can say otherwise we're leaving, but that's a Memphis decision.
Sure. So, ideally, yes, I get what you're saying. I do think we will get to 16 quick, and I think that's going to be the pausing number. I don't think it's going to go.
I don't want it to go more than that.
I'm not sure whether I want it to go more than that. I want it to go to 16 first and then see.
It's kind of for the purposes of what we're talking about here, how many teams outside of the top 16 do I feel like have a legitimate chance to win the national championship? I don't know that one is a number after 16 I can come up with.
In America, more meaningful football, people are usually not complaining about, though.
Right, I guess.
Because the NFL pushes through almost half of their teams to the playoffs.
I am
Almost
not
half.
expanding this thing out to 150 teams.
I'm not saying to do that.
That's
but I'm
almost
saying
half.
getting to 24 is still a tiny fraction
Sure.
compared to what the NFL does. It's the bottom line. We'll continue this and get to a question of the day coming up on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks for hanging with us on a Thursday. You're listening to or watching The Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Chois Woodman, Jeff McGuire, Clint Scott, and now Rob Bro behind the glass. I don't know what's going on over there. Anytime those two are together, it gets a little scary. Y'all continue to bring in your thoughts, comments, questions, hopes, dreams, whatever you got. Take them in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll return to some of that. Some more college football playoff talk coming up shortly. But first, let's get to a question.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
Jeff, Clint, Rob, our fine listening audience. Phil Steele put out his All Big 12 and All America list yesterday. He had 12 different Red Raiders, which is a lot. 12 different Red Raiders on the All Big 12 list, 2 on the All American list. My question to you people is, of names that weren't mentioned on either list, who is the most likely to end up on said list or on the postseason All Big 12 and All American lists? So there's only 2 on the All American list.
Wasn't
so you can
mentioned at all?
No, so you can pick anybody from the All Big 12 list for the All American list.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you needed some. Okay.
That would be hard
Sorry.
for the All American.
I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute.
You could take someone for that, but you can't of someone that was not mentioned for. So it's got to be one of outside of the 12 that would be on the All Big 12 list, though. So that one can't be mentioned at all.
Okay, hang on. Nobody
All Big 12
that he mentioned.
No, All Big 12 has to be no one that he mentioned. All American can be
Anyone
anybody
he mentioned, but
anybody but Jacob Rodriguez
Jacob
or Lee
Rodriguez.
Hunter.
Okay. Okay, so some of this for the not mentioned that could make All-American is a little bit of hope and a little bit of it would be a really fun story. I'm not predicting this. I want to but it would be fun and I hope.
So you're going All Big 12 or All American?
All Big 12.
Okay.
And that would be Micah Hudson. If he's got the talent to be able to do that kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm not predicting that, but it would be a really fun story. It would be up with what his abilities are to have that kind of season for an All Big 12 type performance. And again, the hope that can happen and the story that it would involve would be a blast. I don't know if that actually answers your question or not fairly, but that's where I'm going. For someone that could make the All-America team that was not Jacob Rodriguez or Lee Hunter, I'll go Caleb Douglas.
Okay. I think that's a fair and good pick. Clint?
I think I'm going to go Terrence Carter for the Big 12. I was honestly a little surprised he wasn't on anywhere between first through fourth team. I think he's got the capability to be the best receiving tight end in the Big 12 this year. it'll be interesting to see between he and John Carlos Miller, who's in for what situation. Obviously, you have other factors. How does Mac Leftwich use the tight end? How is the offensive line performing if they have to be, blockers more than they are receivers? Does even when they're running routes, do they get looked at consistently by Baron Morton? There's all of these factors that are yet to be determined, but I think just from pure talent alone, Terrence Carter was highly touted in the portal for a reason. So I'll go him for an all Big 12 guy. For All-American, it was Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey, right?
Lee Hunter.
Oh, it was Lee. Well, yeah, give me David Bailey. Yeah, easy. Yeah.
I think that's the low-hanging fruit. Outside of David Bailey. I almost said that, but outside of David Bailey, who would it be?
Man, All-American?
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's Howard Sampson.
That'd be great. That'd be great news for your offense if Howard Sampson.
I would not be upset with that. No, not at all.
Yeah, I also think another All Big 12 is Romello Height. I think
that's one I think
conversation
absolutely could be there. One that you guys haven't mentioned. I think Baron Morton will be in that conversation. Now, will he be All Big 12 is one quarterback or two if it's
right.
First or second team. If he has got the pieces around him to help him out this much, I do think you're going to throw the football a decent amount this year as well. And you've got some really good receivers around Baron Morton and should have a much better offensive line than we've seen in recent history. I think Morton's going to have opportunity there. For All-American, I think the fastest way to get your name on an All-American list is for a defensive back to rack up a bunch of interceptions.
Yes.
We've seen that over and over. You can become an All-American out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this guy would be out of nowhere. I think Cole Wisniewski, who led the FCS in interceptions 2 seasons ago, he actually led all levels of college football 2 seasons ago in interceptions. I think he's a guy that if he repeats a season like that, he will vault towards the top of All-American lists.
I was going back and forth between him and Sampson.
Yeah. I think Wisniewski's starting to get talked about a little bit more. He was somewhat overlooked because he was an earlier signee. And I think he's...
Yeah, I mean, we finally are all on the same page of how to say his name, so that's a start.
That helps, too. It's like, let's just avoid that guy until we know. No, he's not just some small little white guy from North Dakota. He's 6'4".
He's a big white guy from North Dakota.
Yeah.
And one that likes to go take the football away. So I think Wisniewski's there. I think what's fun about conversations like this, you got a lot of options to fill in. I think you got 12 guys on his preseason All Big 12 list, but you can make a case that 4 or 5 more could end up there. 6 maybe.
I wish...
I don't think you're going to end with 16 All Big 12 guys. I'm not
especially
saying
since there aren't that many teams. I think he does one more team than what the Big 12 does. I could be wrong on that.
No, he does 2 more teams.
There's 2 more teams.
He does 4 teams.
So here's my
the
problem.
Big 12 does. Here's 2 teams and 1,000 honorable mentions.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what they do.
The issue I have right now is it's all projection. We haven't seen these guys here yet, and you can tell me that they're gonna be good. And you can tell me
Jeff,
that
they're going to be good.
You can tell me you hope they're going to be good, but
I
we
hope
don't know.
They're going to be good.
And this is where I'm like the one guy up here that is rooting for Tech to do well and thinks they could do well.
I think there's a lot more than just you rooting for that.
But tugging the reins back as hard as I can, because you haven't gone 3-0 in non-conference play yet under Joey McGuire. You have not beat Kansas State.
You also haven't played 3 home games in non-conference
You also
play.
haven't beat Kansas State in forever and a day. You have not. You have had stretches where you have lost games that you are scratching your head of what the heck just happened here every single season. And because those things are still fresh in my memory, I'm pulling back on those reins as hard as I can because I want to just let the horses run. I want to be as excited, but I've been burned too many times. You
know the best way to combat guys not hitting when you bring in players in the transfer portal.
Bring in more players?
Bring in a lot more great players.
Sure.
You shrink majorly your margin for. You expand your margin for error quite a bit. I get it. I understand any Texas Tech fan that has cautious optimism because, well, it's been 17 years since you've done anything of note. But you've also taken steps in the right direction. You did something last year, winning 8 games that you've done for the first time in 15 years.
And I've seen improvement every year, which is why I want to let the horse run. But we are pulling those reins back as hard as I can.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.